Previously on Flippin' Fresno.
I'm a little frustrated only because this house was supposed to be done last week. And I see part of the fence that's done. I see the yard still full of dirt and debris. I see half of it painted and half of it not painted. I am really concerned because this house was supposed to be done for two reasons. The first one being we have some buyers that really want to look at it. The second one being is that Jen needs to have the solar on here and a finished product. And most importantly, this house was supposed to be in the next episode and it's not ready to go yet. So it's a little frustrating for me, and I'm gonna go in there and figure it out, and hopefully Jen will give me some solace. So it looks cool. Just left to paint that air conditioning box gray too, or black or something. That pink thing is sticking out like dog's balls. And when I got here, the solar panels look pretty nice, but I did notice that the air conditioner behind it was still pink, and it sort of looks like balls on a dog running down the street. So I've got to go in there right now and say, dude, come the out here, look at that thing. That looks like shit. Are we planning to leave it like that? Me. Can we send someone to the roof to paint the air conditioning box? Because when you're standing from the street, the roof looks great, the solar panels look great, all the patches look great, but there's the air conditioning unit looks like shit. And then look at the rest of the house, right? It's all done. They've gone through and they've fixed all these little bits and pieces of the wood chips and stuff like that, filled it all in. It looks perfect. And I come up here and I'm looking at this fantastic solar panel system that's in here with a freaking pink air conditioning housing, which no one has painted yet. Can we just get like a matching color and just spray it so it looks, yeah, because it looks like balls on a dog dangling. Like if we can match that color and just paint it, or I think 2 cans or 4 cans should just paint the whole thing. And we're against the gun because this house should have been done literally last week. So we are a week behind on schedule and a week and a half now with the delays for the flooring. So that's frustrating because we have our real estate agents that are hounding me because they have buyers that really want to come and check out this house, and I can't show it like this. And that's money sitting there, and the risk of them wanting to buy a different house in the time frame of waiting for this house, because time is money and it's a business and we have to be able to deliver on time, and we are behind a week and a half right now. So it's really frustrating, only because I don't want to lose a sale, because it is a business and we have to make money. How are you, honey?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Thank you for having me out.
Nice to see you. Alex is a quality control executive for healthcare here in California and Fresno. And she does a lot of work with a lot of very smart people in healthcare to make the system better for all patients in Fresno and in California. So she's a regulator, and she develops systems that are practical and can give people the best in healthcare, quality assurance. Dennis, we were originally going to budget to put in like those cool bar stools that I had at like my place, but they were like $200 a piece, and we just that's $1,000, and we just like.
Well, and you don't know if that's what's going to appeal to the buyer.
Right.
I mean, you don't want them to end up inheriting something they don't love anyway.
Correct. This house was such a disaster when we got it, and there were walls where there shouldn't have been walls. There were fixtures that didn't line up. Electrical was a mess. The flooring was a mess, and it was a huge challenge. But we were able to keep a vision through it all. And I think we came out with a really nice product, and I wanted to get her perspective on it because she grew up not too far from here. And it was really cool to be able to show her the future of what housing is going to be like in Fresno and be a part of that.
I had an old friend that told me one time, Fresno is not my favorite place on earth, but it's always home. And, you know, I've moved away and I still end up coming back, and it really is. It just feels like home. Okay, top 3 things. I think having the open concept through this area, like you said, that's gonna be huge, because that's, you walk in and it has that kind of nice open feel for being such a small neighborhood and a tight community. It's gonna be really great. I like that you have so much versatility in the options of the outdoor living spaces. I mean, you can go out in any direction. You've got all this great light, and it's gonna be really conducive to that kind of indoor, outdoor, very California style living. I mean, this is what we do. We want big windows, and I wanna sit on the patio and drink my coffee and serve dinner. And then having that little office space, I mean, that's huge. That's gonna be a big selling point.
It's gonna be a big one, huh?
It is, it is.
The total cost on the kitchen, we're looking at about $10,000. That's including the appliances, so that's actually pretty good. Typically, for a regular remodel, you're probably looking at $15,000, but we are under budget on the cabinetry, but we did spend the money on the brand new roof because it's required by the city to have a new roof and single layer to fit the solars, and that's how we get the permit, because if the roof doesn't match up to inspection, then there's no solar permits that are issued, and all our homes are clean, green, and efficient. So we want to make sure that the roof is good, that we have the solar installed in there, because that's something that we do with all our homes.
Yeah, it was an old rundown house, but it had character and lots of space. They got the wood here.
Well, never mind.
This is the Fresno
That's
security.
the high-tech security.
That's the Fresno
the
high-tech
construction security.
Right, so let's not worry about the expensive locks. Let's put a 2x4 to lock it. And then screw it in too. So there you go.
Oh my goodness.
That's the legacy that I want to leave behind. Like, I want to be known as that person that came from nowhere and started to develop all these rundown homes in deep Fresno and change a neighborhood one house at a time. It's a very exciting afternoon today because I have my very close friend Nick Ruiz, aka Wise Guy, who is a professional pro wrestler and has wrestled all over the world. He's an independent wrestler, and he wrestles in front of thousands and thousands of people. So Nick, thank you so much for being here, and let's talk wrestling.
I appreciate it. Let's do it.
What's he gonna do with it? Nails him down into a backbreaker. Jeez. Get ready. 1, 2.
So you got into wrestling. It's been a childhood dream for you, the wrestling, right?
Yeah.
How old were you when you decided that that's what you wanted to do as a professional wrestler?
I would say after the first time that I watched it,
Do you remember
I was
how old,
hooked.
Do you remember how old you were?
I was like 3 years old.
No, wait, 3 years
Yeah.
old. Mm-hmm. Wow.
My mom sat me down on her lap to watch it, and my fondest memory was Hulk Hogan body slamming Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3 in the Pontiac Silverdome.
Right, I remember Andre the Giant.
93,000 people.
93,000 people.
Yeah.
Wow. So the biggest question that I'm sure you get all the time in the wrestling part of it is how hard are the hits? Because, you know, they've got these theories about like fake blocks and punches and things like that. It's kind of staged and stuff like that. But from knowing you for a very long time and watching you wrestle, and I've been personally at ringside, and I've seen you guys land on the mat and go into those turnbuckles and, you know, get hit by chairs and, you know, into metal posts and stuff like that. I mean, that stuff is real. I mean, you get injured, right?
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. That mat, that ring is about a 1/4 inch like padding, and the rest are plywood and metal beams. There's not much give to it. I mean, the first bump that I ever took when I first started getting trained, it feels like the whole wind is knocked out of you. You cannot breathe. And if you don't tuck your chin when you fall, you'll smack your head on the mat and you get severe whiplash and or concussion.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was your biggest injury, bro?
I broke my tib and fib in the summer of 2018 in a match. Wow. Yeah, I jumped off the middle rope and my leg just gave out. It was a freak accident. It wasn't anybody's fault. Just, it happens. You know, you're in a contact sport. We don't have padding. There's no off season. It's, you know, ground and pound. Go until you break.
Beyond the shadow of a doubt that he is. What the hell?
Well, I don't like to, quote unquote, can my matches. There's a lot of guys out there that like to call their matches from A all the way to Z. That's not my thing. I don't like to do that. I'm old school. I like to go out there and just say, let's work. We'll call it on the fly.
Okay.
So we adapt as we go. And I just like it that way. If you're a professional, there's no reason why with the other professional in the ring, you guys can't make that work. You can call some stuff. You can get a middle, a beginning, a middle, and an end, but we fill in the blanks. You know, it's like creating a house. You don't need to know how to put on a roof. You know how to do it. You may have your own way, but you're going to do it your way, which is fine. Yeah. Windows, same thing. You don't need someone to say, all right, well, you have to do this, you have to do that, then you do this, then you do that. No, that's all like, it's just canned stuff. Right. And when you become canned, you're cookie cutter. Nobody wants a cookie cutter wrestler. I don't.
Oh my God.
You know, I try to set myself apart.
So, talk me through those early years where you started all this stuff, and then obviously your passion for wrestling, but how you evolved into the pro wrestler that you are right now. How did it all come together
I
for
just decided I wanted to be trained. I wanted to be a pro wrestler, of course, all the way back to my childhood years.
Here in Fresno.
Correct.
Right.
And at first I was going to go to a school called APW, All Pro Wrestling, which is based out of Hayward, which is the Bay Area. I was going to go get trained over there. Didn't work out. I would have had to get a job transfer. I was newly married at the time. I had a young son. So I decided to go get trained in Fresno, which was my hometown, still is, by a company that's no longer around. It was NAW, North American Wrestling.
Oh, it's a great question. I have no idea.
You had quite a turbulent childhood, yes? And what was some of the challenging things that you had growing up that you could resonate today that kind of fueled you to be the man that you are now?
I never met my biological father. The man who raised me, I loved to death. He passed away 2 weeks after I graduated high school. You know, he had his own personal issues. He had a drug habit, a very, very tough alcohol habit, and he kicked him. He did, and that's addiction's hard to fight. It really is. You know, I don't wish addiction on anybody because it's a battle that can at times lead to your demise. And you know, he had a freak accident where he got injured when he was in construction and ended up getting addicted to prescription pain meds, which ultimately ended his life. And that was a tough pill to swallow. My mom has some depression issues and kind of fell apart. My mom still to this day hasn't remarried because that was the love of her life. And I saw a lot of people go down that path with drugs, alcohol. You know, I'm not going to single anybody out, but I just saw a lot of it, and I promised myself and I made a promise to my kids that I was never going to go down that path. I was never going to drink. I was never going to do drugs. I was never going to do any type of recreational, you know, substance abuse or anything. And still to this day, at 37 years old, I've never touched anything.
And just in general as a man, what are some of the things that you think that the young men of today can take away from someone like yourself that has discipline and things like that, that is successful? What would be the message that you would give people watching this afternoon?
I think nowadays there's a lot of guys or people in general that are very go with the flow, you know, bad influences and bad habits are hard to break, like I said earlier, you know, and if you're, you know, if you choose not to drink, if you choose not to do drugs and all that other stuff, and you feel like you're being pressured into doing so, stand your ground. That's what I do. I do it on a constant basis. I don't care if someone, I don't care if people like it. I don't care if people love it. It doesn't matter. It's my life. And at the end of the day, you have to be happy with yourself. You have to be content with yourself. And if you feel like you're around people that aren't in your best interest, then it's time to go. Surroundings are everything.
Right. So in other words, be your own person, be your
Absolutely.
own individual, regardless of what the world thinks of you. Walk the path that you feel is right for you.
Right. Pick your friends wisely.
Yeah.
You're gonna make millions of friends in life, but you're only gonna have 2 or 3 true friends.
Sure.
It's the way it is.
Yeah. And the saying is, you get by with a little help from your friends, right?
Right.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mate, thank you so much for
Thank you,
coming
brother.
down.
Appreciate you. Yes,
Thank you so much for taking the time to come down
Always.
and talk to us
Yeah.
from your busy wrestling schedule. And maybe we'll hit the gym or something at some point.
Absolutely.
You can give me
Yeah.
some pointers.
For sure.
So I can look as buff as you.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Flippin' Fresno.
Hey, yeah, come to Saison, get your play on. Saison,
the
little
behind the scenes.
spice that goes in everything. You know what I'm saying?
The spice and the salt that goes in every.
And you know what I like saying? We'll be like, oh, welcome to Saison. I'm like, yeah, baby, but you gotta say sazon. Feel me?
Sazon.
Where that sazon?
I used to made fun of that in the office when we first opened, and I would call because I called 250 people for interviews, and every time I left a message, it'd be like, this is Ken from Saison. And then the people across the office like, Saison, blah, 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 blah. Or when we were opening Saison, we wanted it to feel like, especially as you're at the bar, you want to feel like you're having a cocktail at a sunset dinner underneath a Mexican boardwalk.
And what I find like unique about this place is like, you get, obviously, so like Saison's like a mix, like they try to say like it's Mexico City meets Napa Valley, right? And then they're infused, and then you get like a little bit of our own Saison twist on it, right? But what's super cool about it is the fact that it's like, you know, everybody talks about Fresno, and I feel like a big thing about people from Fresno, I feel like they always kind of talk down on Fresno, like, you know, it's just, we're Fresno, but it's just Fresno. And as somebody, so I'm from the Bay Area. So like, as somebody who's from the Bay Area, who's came to Fresno, this place does hold up with the Bay Area. It does hold up with LA, and that's what's so unique about it. You come in, everybody's dressed nice, everybody took a shower, you know what I mean? Everybody has their cologne on, their best clothes on, and that's what this really represents, because it's that infusion of what this city is going to become. They're just trailblazing a new path and kind of setting a new standard and a new tone for like, this is what restaurants need to be, this is how you need to come, and this is what it is. And it's super cool, that's what I like about it.
It's a long way away from when you first started, right? Tell me about that.
When I first started, dude, oh my God, I was literally, the first bar I ever worked at was at a place called Raffles. We called it Wrinkles because the only clientele there was national sales conference style people. It was attached to a conference center in San Antonio. And the only people that went there were like 45 plus singles. So you went there on a Friday night and it was Hawaiian shirt, khaki pants, white sock and sandals guys.
Oh my God.
With like flower shirt, older like librarians and secretaries, and just like forcing them together on this dance floor. So it was Raffles, we called it Wrinkles.
Yeah. Wow.
And, but that was a solid awakening to the bar industry. You want fine dining, you want to eat amazing food, you want to have amazing drinks, but the number one thing that people come in and come in for all the time is the way we remember people and the way we provide service. And the emotional intelligence when we're hiring and training staff are the things that that let us provide that to every guest that walks in the door. Because that's what they came here for. If they were hungry, they could have ordered DoorDash.
Sure.
Especially in today's day and age, you can get anything you want at your fingertips. But I think it's telling that people are still in the doors. The fact that after the pandemic, people wanted to come back. People wanted to come back out to eat. There's a reason for that. There's a reason why restaurants have been around since as long as time can be considered.
And I think the biggest thing too is like in life, like I'm big on like energy, right? And you know, you talk about good vibes and stuff like that. Like when the energy's right, everything flows. When you get in that state of flow, and it's just kind of like one of those things, we met, the vibe was right, there was mutual respect between us. We came in, he kind of introduced what this place was, the concept, the vibe, the clientele, how we wanted to, basically his vision for the bar and how he wanted to drive it, right? And I said, hey, I think I'm your guy. And just from there, we just got behind there and it was just like clockwork. We just started knocking it out, boom, 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 boom. And it was cool.
Well, actually, first bartending job I ever had was catering for a company in San Antonio. I was supposed to be, it was 18, the guy he only hired athletes and fraternity members at the small college I went to. And I was a swimmer, so I had some connection with him. He hired me, I needed money my freshman year for student loans. And we have 7 different bars set up, all satellite, just making one-on-ones, you know, like just vodka sodas, all that kind of crap. But the bartender that I was supposed to be bar backing for got there, set his bar up, and immediately started throwing up because he was too hungover to work. Wow. And so the owner of the company, I'm 18 years old, just looks at me and was like, "You can bartend, right?" I was like, "Yeah. Oh, I know how to do this for sure. Yeah, I got this." And that was like, literally, I did it that night, and that was, and everything else was history.
Speaking of evolution and creativity, as I understand, you yourself are a bit of a maestro when it comes to cocktails.
I am a bit. I would never claim to have the greatest palate in the world. I started bartending at beer joints in Oklahoma in oil-filled towns as a side gig, when I was roughnecking, you know, out of college, looking for a regular job.
We've all been there.
Yeah, driving semi-trucks and working as a derrick hand on an oil rig. But I always go back to that same Cheers analogy. I love being the host of the party. Sasha Petrosky is probably my bartending inspiration. He started a bar called Milk and Honey in New York City, which is one of the first real cocktail revolution bars we had in the late 90s. Unfortunately, he passed really early. But he wrote a book called Regarding Cocktails, and his idea for a bartender was we play the hosts of the party. You learn quickly to ask me for the 3 quick salient points to sell it to someone, as opposed to my History Channel YouTube rambling on it.
But I love that because then I'm able to like synthesize like all that information and be like, okay, all right, she probably doesn't know what this, and this mean, but I'm gonna just say this. All right, cool. So like he came out with this he came out with this new drink, right? It's called, we have a milk punch and there's like a spin on it and it's called the Otra, right? And I'm like, all right, give me like 3 selling points. I just need to sell it to this chick. Why is it different? And he was like, okay, vanilla, grapefruit, citrus, boom. I said, hey, look, check this out, mama. I got vanilla, grapefruit, citrus, and it's the same content, alcohol content that the milk punch has. She said, okay, I'll try it. Easy peasy. Service is absolutely key. There's a reason it's the hospitality or service industry. One of the things we saw during COVID that highlighted to people was that the hospitality industry employed, and I might be wrong on my exact percentage, but about 58% of Americans were employed in some way related to the hospitality industry. Wow. And so that's why we saw that massive hit to the country whenever we had to stop that for a little bit.
During COVID, this is right?
Yeah, during COVID. And I think the fact that it's recovered so much highlights even more what I was saying earlier about people want to come out. People want to have an experience out for the evening. They want to be taken care of. And that's what I think every staff member, from busser to line cook to even our dishwashers, really, really emphasize, is that we want to make this the best experience anyone could have on any given night.
Yeah. So you have some cocktails in store for us tonight?
I do, yeah. I've got a couple of our new ones on the menu that we've just put on the menu, and a couple of our favorites that have become very clear staples for the things that we provide here. I'm real excited to share them. So I've got a couple cocktails wanted to make today. One is one that I've been making recently. It's called In Watermelon Sugar. Okay. Everyone knows the Harry Styles song that has been around right now and so popular. One of the things I always like to point out, because bartenders love to be nerds of knowledge and things like that, is that he was in a green room somewhere and there was the Richard Brautigan book called In Watermelon Sugar. And Richard Brautigan was a 60s, 70s beatnik, kind of absurdist writer. Think like Albert Proust of the 60s and 70s. And he wrote this book called In Watermelon Sugar. And it's, strangely enough, it's about death and being in a utopian society after death. 20 years before Steve Jobs came out with iPhone, I this, I that. Brodigan was calling it I-Death, and it was about how in Watermelon Sugar you spent every day like it was your last, and every day the world was a different color. So you had to experience new things and different things every day.
New ideology.
Yeah, every single day. And I know that, you know, a bunch of people are coming out with drinks right now, and we like to name drinks after popular songs and all that kind of stuff, but that was one of those bits that made me have way more respect for Harry Styles, that he came out and said that whatever the song was about, he named it after being in a green room and seeing that drink called In Watermelon Sugar.
It's really good. You feel like you're on a beach in Hawaii.
Yeah, you wanna have that cocktail, and I want you to be more excited about the heat and everything outside. It should you should be having slices of watermelon sitting outside after hanging out at the pool all day.
It just takes you to a tropical place.
That's about 90% of my waking hours in my brain is thinking about new ways that I can do new cocktails to present to people, and we're gonna continue to chase that here. Our flagship cocktail at Saison has been the Margarita Saison since day one when we opened. Something that we came up with very early on when we were coming up with our cocktail list. So we've got this blue cocktail, and one of the things I love is taking back liqueurs and things that were considered Applebee's chili style crappy drinks that were in the late 90s and early 2000s. You got a drink that was blue and you assumed it was sweet and gross and manufactured and things like that, because that's not natural, but you know, we want to reinvent that. So this is just a different riff on the classic margarita. So we like to use an agave blend to really get the backbone. So we use a little bit of tequila, a little bit of a different agave spirit called Raicilla that most people in this country aren't familiar with, and a little bit of mezcal. So equal portions of those throughout. Mezcal gives a little bit of smokiness, the tequila you get a little bit of sweetness, and then the Raicilla blend, you get a little bit of that minerality, the backbone that comes from wild agave spirits. It might seem simple, but one of the things that we've done here that we like is just different colored salts for different cocktails. Darren, you'll appreciate this, is that all of the salt that I use for all of the cocktails of different colors are all Hawaiian black and red salts.
Fantastic.
Come from a company called Vivia Doria.
Okay. So you have a little bit of aloha in all your drinks, mate.
A little bit of aloha, and it could be a hello or a goodbye, depending upon how many of these margaritas that you've had throughout the night. And so that's been our absolute flagship cocktail. When you see us on Instagram, people are posting that, people are having a sip of that, people are drinking that.
Saison margarita.
Saison margarita. You know, one of the things I pride myself on is being, every time we get to do some things for the bar program and being the #1 account for something. Like we're the #1 account for a certain Prosecco, and we beat out LA, which sells all the Rosé and Prosecco in the world. They do insane business on that. But when we can beat that out and we can provide people that experience to just have an outlet, that's what we want to be the benchmark for that.
Okay, and this drink is called a Saison Old Fashioned?
This is our Saison version of an Old Fashioned. I make my own house whiskey blend, blending a bunch of different whiskeys that I find to find the flavor profile as they go. We here at Saison do it a little bit different. It's just adding a little bit of depth of flavors to it. If we were gonna put it on a menu and try and attach a name to it, I always call it the Smokin' Berries. In all of our cocktails, everything we do, we add a little bit of saline, a little bit of salt water, because salt makes flavors pop, and we want all those flavors to pop. So whether it's an Old Fashioned to a margarita, anything like that, everything gets a little bit of salt. Sasha Petrosky, like we read outside, has a famous quote saying, if you don't put an orange peel in your Old Fashioned, you did not make an Old Fashioned.
Right.
So we always want that pith and those oils that come from something like an orange, not just as a garnish. It shouldn't be something that you just get on your cocktail. It should be something that you sip on and enjoy at the same time.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have that in there. The Old Fashioned is the king of the cocktail revolution that started us out 20 years ago, and is never gonna go anywhere. This will be a cocktail that they made in New Orleans 150 years ago with Pashaz and Sazerac making the first ones, and one that'll probably never leave every menu ever. So that's our Saison version of an Old Fashioned.
Saison Old Fashioned. You can definitely smell that orange peel.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of brightness as you go into it, and you drink with the nasal capacity first.
That really hits you.
Yeah, as the old
right.
Kansas farmers say when they drink their homemade whiskey, it's smooth.
Yeah. Suddenly my long day feels good.
A little bit better?
Feels a lot bit better.
Good to see. Well,
That's
everyone,
great,
yeah,
mate.
share that around and enjoy that. Those are some of the cocktails that we make and kind of some of the commitments that we make to, we bartend with intention, make everything with intention from the kitchen to out here. If we're gonna put something in a cocktail, it's in there for a reason. Not just because that's the recipe that we looked up on Google and we can replicate that. It's all about giving guests the best iteration of any cocktail that we wanna make at any time. Yeah,
Absolutely. So there we have it. We're here at Saison, another episode of Flipping Fresno. And from me to all my friends at Saison, cheers.
Flippin' Fresno. Flippin' Fresno.
So whenever you're ready, Chris, we can do Mario's on his way here with material, so we can do the kitchen layout if we're ready to go. Hey Chris, how's it going, man? Welcome to our, we're calling this our dumpster fire flip. Welcome to the dumpster fire flip. So let's take a look. Well, we have Chris here today from KHL Cabinetry, and we're measuring up and drawing up the kitchen. This is a very small house, so we wanted to maximize the space, and we're gonna do a very contemporary style kitchen, very modern, very simple, but elegant to maximize the space. I was thinking maybe we'll do cabinets from here all the way, I guess, to maximize the space.
From pretty much from door to door?
Yeah. White shaker, white quartz, same as the other house.
I'll draw it out. Let me draw something out and then I'll show you.
Okay.
And then this outlet, is this staying or can we move it?
We can move it, but we'd probably want, I mean, up to you.
Because if I put the panels, usually I keep 3 inches from here and put the panels pretty close by.
Sure. Can we start from here, you think? Can we go up to there? Probably, huh? Yeah.
Okay, a kitchen really changes up everything in the house, you know?
So I would think like a pantry here would be perfect, right?
Pantry and then just run down base cabinets.
Yeah, and are you gonna do an angle here or what?
I can do an angle, but you probably want to just measure from here.
Okay.
Plans to get some new cabinets, new counters, backsplash. I'm only doing the kitchen, so.
You remember Chris, right, Mario? Chris, are we doing the 36 or the 30?
So with this, we can do 36.
That's okay. Because then we don't have to worry about the molding, right? We just go straight to the ceiling.
Straight all the way up.
Perfect. Let's just do that. I'm gonna do a quick walkthrough with Mario about the layout, make sure we're on the same page. And then they got a new showroom, so we're gonna go check it out. Wow. Took me a while to find this place.
About 15 minutes.
It's far from your other place, but it's cool, man. It's big.
This is where all the action happens, all the cutting, all the...
This is where all the action happens? This place is massive.
There's some new stuff here that you haven't seen before. These quartz. I think they came in like last week.
I've never been to a warehouse this big in 15 years of doing this.
I'll say these are probably discounted because there's only 2 left. I believe 3.
3.
So whenever we run down to the last like 2 or 3, we always discount them.
That's cool. That's kind of Vegas style. So a lot of the people who do flips probably buy from here.
Buy from prefabs,
It's prefab ready to go.
90% of the time is just prefabs for the flippers.
How much would something like this, if I had the piece of material, I bring it over, what would be the labor cost to do this?
So this one here, material and labor is 500. So if you do just the labor, you're probably looking at somewhere around 3.
So this will be like a very tactile location to where people can touch and feel and see and visualize what it's going to look like in their house.
And then have you seen these floating vanities?
Okay, cool.
A lot of people have been asking for these, yeah.
So the plumbing and everything is run through the center of the wall, huh? So you're doing the whole thing, like you're not just kitchen cabinetry, you're doing closets, bedroom, everything. So this would be mostly new construction.
New construction. Or custom, whoever wants to customize their closets. It's probably not good for the house we just measured, you know.
No.
I don't think they'll go for it, but
No.
for the next project, if you have a bigger flip, if you have
A larger price point home. Like a $700,000 home. Alrighty, mate, what we got? What do we got?
You got your blind corner cabinet here.
That's the Lazy Susan.
No, Lady Susan, doesn't fit.
Okay.
Because you have if you want your dishwasher here, it's not gonna fit.
Okay.
Also, your sink has to be 30 inch.
Okay.
36 wouldn't fit. Your range has to be right next to the sink. 'Cause
Okay.
there's no other way, unless you move it all the way to the right. All together, so far we're 10,232. Low price, best in town, hardwood, solid wood. You sell this house, you're gonna get at least 3 times back. But this is not the final price. I'm gonna have to get back to you on this.
Yeah. Okay.
It's gonna go down. Most likely, it's gonna go down. The pantry is probably one of the most expensive cabinets you have there. It'll take off like roughly $1,100 from the kitchen price.
Just trying to think.
pantry alone.
I'm just trying to visualize how it's gonna look. No, let's not worry about it right now.
Okay.
Let's just take it out.
We'll take it out completely.
Let's take it out. But you have the drawing anyway. If we had to put it in, you have the drawing anyway, the master, right? So that's
Yeah.
fine.
So cabinet price went down a lot. Yeah. So now we're almost down to what you paid last time for cabinets.
So then just let's finalize everything. You can phone me.
Yeah, I'll give you a call and I'll make sure we have it all. Yeah.
Okay. One-stop shop, man. Love it. I love it. Today was an extremely effective day in our build process of the dumpster fire house. And we met with Chris from KHL this morning, and we did the entire layout, and we have everything already on a grid, ready to go for our contractors. And this whole process took less than a couple of hours. And in that short time, we were able to get to the house, do the layout with Chris at KHL, come back to the showroom, go through the entire warehouse to pick the right cabinetry that we wanted, and we have now made the order. That was really good efficiency of time, and that's one of the bonuses of having a company like KHL, that you can do everything in one stop. It saves time, it saves money, and in our line of work, time is money. So it was super efficient today.